What would you do if you discovered that the two people you trusted most, the man you promised forever to, and the woman you called your sister, had not only betrayed you, but mocked you behind your back? I'm Julia. And when I found the messages between my husband and my best friend, I had two choices: explode in anger, or stay silent and build a payback so devastating that they'd never recover. If you've ever been underestimated, hit that like button, tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and subscribe to Mortal Revenge, because this isn't just a cheating story. It's about how silence became my most powerful weapon. At 32, my life looked like a dream from the outside. I lived in a beautiful suburban home, had a thriving career in interior design, and a husband, Mark, who everyone said was the total package. Charming, successful, the kind of man who made heads turn when he walked into a room. 8 years of marriage had given us a polished image. Vacations in Europe, anniversary dinners, smiling photos on social media. We were the couple others compared themselves to. And then there was Sarah, my best friend since college. My maid of honor, my secret keeper. The one person who had seen me cry, laugh, and dream. She was at our house so often that Mark used to joke, "If you two ever get married, I'll be the third wheel." Looking back, that wasn't a joke. It was foreshadowing. The betrayal didn't start with fireworks. It started with whispers. Sarah began texting constantly during our wine nights, brushing it off as work drama. Mark started coming home late, claiming dinners with colleagues. Then there were the glances. Subtle at first, easy to miss. Their laughter at inside jokes I wasn't part of. The way they seemed tuned to each other's presence in a room. I dismissed it. Why wouldn't I? Mark was my husband. Sarah was my best friend. They were the last people on earth I should doubt. But trust, I learned, can blind you more than love. It was a Tuesday night. I had dozed off on the couch after a long day, my phone charging beside me. Mark's phone buzzed on the table, the glow of a new message catching my eye. A text from Sarah. At first, I smiled. She always messaged us random memes. But this time, the preview on the lock screen froze my blood. Last night was incredible. I can still feel you inside me. My hands trembled as I unlocked the phone. And then, my world broke apart. Dozens of explicit messages, hotel photos, flirty jokes, plans for future getaways, and worse, comments about me. She's clueless, too naive to ever catch on. Poor Julia, always grateful just to be noticed. She trusts us completely. It makes this so easy. I sat in the dark until dawn, scrolling, reading, rereading. Betrayal wasn't just in the sex. It was in the laughter. In how they mocked me, the woman they both pretended to care for. By the time Mark came downstairs for his morning coffee, I wasn't a broken wife anymore. I was something colder, something sharper. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I smiled, kissed him goodbye, and began my silent war. The next morning, I texted Sarah about brunch plans. My voice was steady, my smile believable. If they wanted to play games, I'd show them how it was really done. Behind the mask, I started building my arsenal. Screenshots of every message, photos of hotel receipts from his wallet, call logs, bank statements showing our money funding their dates, a growing folder that told the story of betrayal, one careless mistake at a time. I opened a secret bank account and funneled my paychecks there. Quietly updated my resume, started looking at apartments, and I met with a divorce attorney who specialized in cases of infidelity. All the while, I played the loving wife and loyal friend. Smiles, hugs, laughter, while sharpening my knife in silence. When people live double lives, they get careless. Mark and Sarah were no exception. Sarah showed up one summer evening in a scarf, trying to hide hickeys. Mark's late nights at work often ended with his car parked outside Sarah's apartment, which I photographed. He bought her jewelry using our joint credit card. She posted selfies wearing it. Always cropped to hide details, but not cropped enough. Every careless move they made was another nail I tucked neatly into their coffin. 3 months later, I was ready for undeniable proof. I planned a dinner party, inviting mutual friends, plus Sarah and Mark. Halfway through, I asked Mark to run out for wine. Then I claimed a headache and went upstairs. What I really did was set up my phone in the living room to record. 20 minutes later, I had what I needed. Mark returned, Sarah slipped away, and I found them half-dressed in the guest bedroom. On camera. I watched it once, saved it, and sent a copy to my lawyer. No more speculation. No more doubt. This was betrayal. Caught in the act. Armed with evidence, my lawyer and I prepared for war. In our state, adultery directly affected divorce settlements. especially when joint funds were used for an affair. Mark didn't know a thing until a sheriff handed him the summons at work. That night, he stormed into the house, face red with rage. "Julia, what the hell is this?" I looked up calmly from my book. Exactly what it looks like, divorce. "You can't just..." "Julia, I love you. We can work this out." I raised an eyebrow. "Love? Is that what you call mocking me with Sarah and spending our savings on hotel rooms?" His face went white. He sputtered excuses. He threatened me. He shouted about illegal recordings. But I didn't flinch. "Mark, everything I collected is legal. And it's all with my lawyer now, try me." He stormed out, slamming the door. My phone buzzed almost instantly. Messages from Sarah. Sarah's texts were pathetic. "Julia, please, this isn't what you think. He told me you two were already splitting up. I was manipulated too. I didn't want to hurt you. Please don't ruin our friendship over this." I ignored every single one. Silence was my sharpest blade. The next day, she showed up at my office in tears, mascara running. My coworkers watched as she begged me to listen. "Julia, he lied to me too. He said you didn't love him anymore. I thought I was helping you both move on." I looked at her with the calm of a woman holding dynamite. "Sarah, I have video of you in my guest bedroom. I have messages where you called me stupid. Jewelry receipts, hotel bills. Would you like me to send all of it to our friends?" Her face crumbled. She left in tears. And that was the last time we spoke. Court day came and I was ready. My lawyer presented everything. Screenshots of their explicit texts. Bank statements proving $15,000 of marital funds wasted on the affair. The video from my home. Mark's lawyer tried to argue the recording was illegal. The judge shut that down instantly. It was her home. She has every right. When the settlement was read, I felt something shift in the universe. I got the house. Alimony. Reimbursement. For every cent he wasted on Sarah. Mark was forced to liquidate part of his retirement account just to pay. Their smug confidence dissolved into horror. For once, the silence was theirs. If the courtroom stripped them financially, society stripped them emotionally. Mark tried to post vague growth messages on social media. Sarah claimed she'd been trapped by manipulation. But I had already told the truth to our closest friends, showing select evidence before filing. So when Mark and Sarah tried to spin their lies, nobody bought it. Their reputations collapsed. Sarah lost clients. Mark became the office joke. Friends stopped answering their calls. And the best part? They didn't even stay together. 3 months after the divorce, Mark was with someone new. Sarah found out through Facebook. Karma, it seemed, had perfect timing. After the court settlement, the dust began to settle. But the silence in my house was heavy. For years, Mark's shoes had been by the door. His coffee cup left half-finished on the counter. His presence filling every corner of our lives. Now it was just me and the echoes of everything that had happened. And yet, the quiet wasn't suffocating. It was liberating. For the first time in years, I didn't have to wonder where he was at night. I didn't have to force myself to laugh at Sarah's jokes while my gut whispered that something was wrong. I didn't have to perform the role of perfect wife anymore. It was just me. And slowly, I began to realize that was enough. I started small. I bought fresh sheets for the bed, painted the walls of the bedroom a calming blue, and replaced the photos that once showed smiling faces now tainted with lies. I moved my things into the spaces Mark once dominated. The closet, the desk, the garage shelves he'd claimed as his. It wasn't about erasing him. It was about reclaiming myself. My interior design business, which I'd once treated as a side passion, became my focus. I poured my energy into projects, expanding my client base, creating designs that reflected strength and transformation, themes I was living every day. And slowly, the business grew. My name started spreading in design circles. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. People often ask me why I didn't explode when I found out, why I didn't confront them with screaming, or post everything online. The truth, silence was my weapon. Mark and Sarah expected me to break down. They expected tears, begging, emotional outbursts. If I'd given them that, they could have twisted it, called me crazy, emotional, irrational. Instead, I gave them nothing. Just calm smiles, patient planning, and evidence so solid they couldn't wriggle out of it. That silence haunted them. It made them paranoid. It made them underestimate me until it was too late. And in the end, it wasn't just revenge. It was justice. After the divorce, Sarah tried to rebuild her life. She reached out to our old friends, spinning stories about how she had been manipulated by Mark, how she never wanted to hurt Julia. But people aren't stupid. and I had already given them the truth before she had a chance to twist it. Her business suffered. Clients dropped her after whispers spread about the affair. Our mutual friends stopped inviting her to gatherings. She became the woman everyone avoided. One night, months later, she emailed me. "Julia, I don't know how to live with myself. I miss our friendship. Please, can we talk?" I stared at the email for a long time. Then I archived it, unread. Some bridges aren't worth rebuilding. Mark, too, tried to spin the story. He posted online about mutual decisions and respectful partings. But the truth had a way of leaking. At work, colleagues joked behind his back about the divorce settlement. His once polished reputation took hit after hit, and when Sarah and he inevitably fell apart, the loneliness seemed to swallow him whole. Months later, I ran into him at a coffee shop. He looked older, worn down, his swagger replaced by something more hollow. "Julia," he said carefully, "you look good." "I'm good," I replied. He shifted awkwardly. "I know sorry doesn't fix things, but I am sorry." I looked at him calmly. "I'm not angry, Mark, I'm indifferent." And I meant it. The man who had once broken me was now just a lesson I'd survived. There's a difference between revenge and growth. Revenge is fueled by hate. Growth is fueled by love. Love for yourself, for your future, for the life you refuse to let others destroy. When I started this journey, I thought I wanted revenge. But as time passed, I realized what I truly wanted was peace, freedom, self-respect. Yes, Mark and Sarah paid for what they did. But the real victory wasn't watching them fall. It was realizing I didn't need them to rise. About a year after the divorce, I moved into a smaller home across town. Bright walls, big windows, a garden where I planted roses like the ones my grandmother used to love. Every morning, I'd sit by the window with a cup of coffee and my dog at my feet, watching the sunlight pour in. No lies, no betrayal, just peace. I began traveling again, something I hadn't done in years because Mark always said he was too busy. I visited Italy, wandered the streets of Florence, and realized I was strong enough to create new memories, ones that didn't include him. And eventually I opened my heart again. 16 months after the divorce, I met David at a gallery opening. He was kind, grounded, the kind of man who looked you in the eye when he spoke. He listened to my story without judgment. He didn't try to fix me or make excuses for the people who hurt me. He just respected me for surviving it. "You're not the same person you were when you were married to him," David said once. "You're stronger, sharper. You know what you want and what you'll never tolerate again." And he was right. This time I wasn't naive. I wasn't blindly trusting. I had boundaries, and David didn't just respect them. He admired them. If you've been betrayed, here's what I want you to know. Trust your instincts. Those little red flags, don't ignore them. Document everything. Emotion fades, but evidence speaks for you. Protect yourself first. Secure your finances, your independence, your future. Silence is powerful. You don't owe anyone a dramatic scene. Sometimes silence is the deadliest response. Revenge isn't the goal. Freedom is. Self-respect is. Peace is. 3 years later, my life is quieter, but infinitely richer. I no longer measure success by how perfect my life looks on Instagram. I measure it by how at peace I feel when I wake up. Mark and Sarah will probably always be tangled in their own webs of lies and regrets. But me, I'm free. And that, more than court settlements or ruined reputations, is the sweetest revenge of all. If this story struck a chord with you, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever discovered a betrayal that changed everything? How did you respond? Would you choose silence or confrontation? Like this video if you believe the best revenge is living well. Subscribe to Mortal Revenge for more true stories of betrayal, heartbreak, and justice. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a twist. Remember, you don't have to scream to be powerful. You don't have to be cruel to be strong. And you never, ever have to stay with people who think your trust makes you weak. Until next time, this is Mortal Revenge, reminding you that sometimes silence isn't weakness. It's the sharpest blade of all.